Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we are looking at Tinseltown issue 2 from Alterna Comics. Story by David Lucarelli, art by Henry Ponciano, and lettering by HDE. Now this is a 5-part miniseries on newsprint, classic style. That's why the price is so amazingly cheap. Amazingly cheap. I wish more books would go back to newsprint so the price would come down and maybe make them worthwhile. So big thumbs up on that front. But this issue kind of picks up where we left off. There's a guy on top of a water tower about to jump, and our lady cop has to go up there and talk him down. It's an interesting conversation. It's handled pretty well, and she does kind of save him. He is about to step down and he slips. She grabs him and somehow keeps him from falling, even though she's like 110 pounds. Well, they get down to the bottom and they play it off like it was part of a movie, and the crowd that's there kind of forgets about it. He does some autographs and just kind of walks away. That was actually pretty interesting. Then we cut over to her having dinner with Frankie at this restaurant, and he smiles too much not to be like a serial killer. So the ice cream man is kind of talking to her. He's got big plans and all this, wants to be a director, producer, that sort of thing. And meanwhile, she's trying to kind of cope with her situation of not being like a real cop. She's kind of like a studio mall cop. So she's kind of 50-50 on that. But she does go out and learn how to shoot with, because she goes out with her friend and meets some guys that want to be stuntmen or actors, and a couple of them get picked up for some stunt work, but this one guy that she meets, he doesn't get picked, but they go out and do some shooting, and then they make out a little bit, and they go out to dinner at McDuffie's. He did teach her to shoot, so that's pretty interesting. And although she is asked about the incident with this guy Happy, she just kind of plays it off. And she ends up having to go sleeveless in this parade, and some real LAPD cop chicks are very irritated by that, rightfully so. And she feels bad about it, but it's just kind of going over the course of her evolution as a studio cop. She has to work night shift, rousting bums, and she gets startled by a cat in a goofy kind of tee-hee fashion, but she is carrying bullets in her gun now, and when she hears some footsteps, she turns and takes a shot, because that's smart, and that's how the story ends. Overall, I thought this was definitely middle story, worth $1.50, I'll give them that, but I really don't know where the storyline is going. They don't really seem to be building toward anything. It's more like vignettes in the life of this officer, and I'm not sure what the ultimate destination of that is. It's got to kind of pick up a little bit to keep interest. I think it's well written. I just don't know where it's going. And it feels like it's either being dragged out a little bit or that they're just kind of floundering for a plot thread. Well, they need to get on it because next issue is the halfway point in the series. And they really kind of need to establish some kind of cohesive end point other than just little slice of life stories. Or it's just not going to make any sense at all. If it was a longer series, maybe I could buy that. But in a 5-issue limited series, it makes it really difficult to see that as a cohesive unit that I want to buy a trade for, because a lot of these books seem to be aimed specifically at a trade paperback. That's why they're limited series. I don't really understand where they're going with this storyline, and I hope they do resolve it, because I think there's a lot of talent on this book, and it would be a shame to waste it on meandering without any end goal in mind. So I would definitely recommend it. I did like issue 2 more than I liked issue 1, so I hope that trend continues, but that's just my opinion on the matter. As always, thanks for watching. Consider hitting a like and subscribing. If you subscribe, you won't miss any future reviews, and if you want to support the channel, Patreon link should be in the description or on the About page, depending on where you're watching this. It really helps a lot because then I can buy more comics to review. But thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you on the next one.